Call to order a meeting of the City of Lake Butler, Florida Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Today's, not today's date. Commissioner Stegall.
Here.
Commissioner Beasley.
Here.
Commissioner Sermons.
Here.
Commissioner Redmond.
Here.
Myself, Jake Shank is present. City Manager, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
And City Attorney, Mr. Manning.
Here.
Okay, before the board is a letter, an agreement between the City of Lake Butler and North Florida Regional Planning Council. Would you like to explain what that is?
This is the redevelopment of a CRA master plan. The original one was done probably in 95 or 96, and it just needs to be updated periodically. And since it hasn't been updated for close to 15 years, it's probably time to do another one. And the North Central Florida Regional Planning Commission has agreed to do that. And at $7,500, our budget was $15,000. So, looking for a motion to go forward.
Can we get a,
What?
do what?
Did you need a motion there?
Yes.
I'll make a motion there, okay?
We have a motion to approve the agreement between the City of North Central Florida Regional Planning Council for the redevelopment of CRA master plan. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it passes. This time we'll adjourn the community redevelopment meeting.
Can we get a motion to
I make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn the redevelopment.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, sir. Okay. It's going to be a meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board for the City of Lake Butler, Florida. Those dates November 17th, 2020. Call to order. Commissioner Stegall.
Here.
Commissioner Beasley.
Here.
Commissioner Sermons.
Here.
Commissioner Redmond.
Here.
Myself, Jack Shank is here. City Manager, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
And City Attorney Manning. Here. Is here. Okay, purpose of this meeting is
The plan.
approval for seeking a resolution for approval resolution number PZ/LPA Land Development Regulation 20-014.
This is the second resolution for this rezoning, and is for the Santa Fe overhead door. That's
Is it
I'll stretch it down.
Zoning.
That's the one south of where Commissioner Beasley lives, on 231.
Oh, is this, okay, this is about the zoning, right?
Rezoning.
Okay, is this the one that I discussed with you, Ms. Owen?
No,
It's not the
no,
one?
this is not, I'm sorry, this is not the rezone. This is about this is the text amendment to the land development regulations.
Now, this is the one we
Yes,
talked
this is the resolution making, the Planning and Zoning Board making a recommendation to the City Commission for the amendment to replace manufactured homes with modular homes.
about. Okay, and before we vote on this, whatever, I talked to Sarah, because I wanted some clarification. Now, the area that I live in, Southwest 1st Street, Southwest 9th Avenue, 8th Lane, Ace Place, that block there. Now it has single resident RSF/MH2, which is mobile home.
Yes.
two. Now, when we change this wording, does that affect this?
No.
No.
Okay. And see, because I was looking at some of the other areas that we discussed so that people would know.
Yeah,
Because we know how people can be when they're talking about their property.
right.
This, as far as I know, would affect, for instance, south of 238,
Mm-hmm.
where there's a trailer going in right now.
Mm-hmm. But was that area before then, what was it zoned as?
Residential single family, not residential single family / mobile homes, just residential single family.
Okay.
And what the problem was, if I remember correctly, there was a problem with the way people interpreted what constituted a mobile home and a modular home. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what this does is clarifies that language, clears the muddy water.
Does that only mean the one of them has a cement slab and one does not?
Do what now?
One has a,
Modular has a cement slab under it
Foundation.
and a mobile home does not.
A cement slab or footers and a block
Okay.
wall like a stick-built house would have.
Okay.
They refer to it as a stem wall for modular homes, but they're also referring to it as in the LDRs, they're referring to a stem wall and a manufactured home, which in that industry, a stem wall does not go with a manufactured home, only a modular home. So there needs to be a lot of clarification in the LDRs. It's almost, the building inspector, Mr. Whidden, he reviewed them and he said it's almost as if, he said you don't usually see manufactured homes in residential single-family zonings. He said this usually says modular, and that's it, just modular. Because in everything that is referring to it, the stem wall, everything's modular. So that's what we're amending, is to take out manufactured completely.
Okay.
Need a motion?
Who got that one?
I make a motion to approve resolution number PZL/LPA LDR 20-014, read by title only.
Resolution number PZLPA LDR 20-01, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Lake Butler, Florida, serving as the Planning and Zoning Board of the City of Lake Butler, Florida, and the local planning agency of the City of Lake Butler, Florida, recommending to the City Commission of the City of Lake Butler, Florida, approval of an application for an amendment to the text of the City of Lake Butler land development regulations, providing for amending section 2.1 entitled Definitions General by amending the definition of single-family dwelling, providing for amending section 2.1 entitled Definitions General by adding a definition for dwelling, modular home, providing for amending section 4.2.31 entitled Provisions for Residential Design Manufactured Housing by changing the reference from the Florida Administrative Code to the Florida Building Code, and by requiring the underfloor area of a residential design manufactured home to be permanently enclosed by either a masonry block stem wall without stucco finish or a masonry block stem wall with stucco finish, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date.
Got a second anywhere?
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, resolution passes.
Make a motion
Motion,
to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Been called to order the regular meeting of the City of Lake Butler City Commission. Today's date, November 17th, 2020. Commissioner Stegall. Here. Commissioner Beasley.
Here.
Commissioner Sermons.
Here.
Commissioner Redmond.
Here,
Myself, Jack Shank, I'm present. City Manager, Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
And City Attorney Mance.
Here.
Okay. All please stand for prayer.
Lord, thank you for another day. God of peace, we invite you to bless each person who took the time to gather here tonight, and let your hands of protection be on them throughout the rest of the week. Help and guide all the first responders. Let us celebrate the Thanksgiving filled with joy, peace, and love for one another. Father, we just thank you again for all the blessings you have bestowed upon this country. We ask that you just continue to guide and lead all our leaders. And in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Would you mind standing for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we need approval of the agenda format.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda format.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? On recognition by the mayor, any person may address the commission on any subject not included on the agenda. Speakers are requested to give their name and address to the recording clerk for the record and to come forward to the commission table when speaking. Please be as brief as possible and limit your remarks to 4 minutes, although additional time may be granted by the commission if necessary. No official action can be taken, but direction may be given to staff.
My name is James Ash, and I live on 890 Northwest 4th Street. And I'm hearing about the golf carts. See what we could do about passing it here in Lake Butler. Everybody else has got them. In Wilmington and Rayford.
On the what?
Golf carts.
Golf carts.
Yeah. We've done this before, and I called the DOT in Lake City, and I had about five of them come one time when David was on the board here. And they could never get it passed. And they said there wasn't no problem with them doing it. It had to go through all y'all.
That's what DOT told me.
Yeah. And another thing, it needs to be licensed or no one under 18 on the golf cart.
You need driver.
Driving, yes. So right down there, that road that goes by Family Dollar,
Yes, sir.
that house, the catty corner right there, bunch of little kids gets out and rides on them and goes down in the ditches and just go crazy on them.
Yes, sir.
I ride mine on the back street, but Brad says there's no problem in me riding my golf cart. The only problem is the highway patrol.
That's true.
What's gonna happen, they gonna get out there at nighttime, that road in front of my house, 231 South, several of them.
Yeah, but we have a limit on cutting it off at a certain time, and not riding the golf cart, but just in the daylight, time on.
You're talking about side-by-sides and four-wheelers.
Yeah, four-wheelers and side-by-sides, they ride them in town now, and they
Like your
even,
house.
Well, the state statute provides for us to authorize golf carts, but it specifically prohibits side-by-sides and four-wheelers and things like that.
well,
Our
there's,
statute provides for golf carts if the municipality chooses to enact an ordinance.
Wouldn't that fall under motor vehicles guidelines?
That's where it's at. That's where it's at.
And there's
That's a lot of red tape.
There's a separate statutory provision that says that a municipality may enact an ordinance authorizing golf carts under certain circumstances. And I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but it says that the governing body must make a finding that it's safe and effective. DOT has a separate set of standards that is probably governed by the Florida Administrative Code as to what is required in order to have a designated safe crossing of a state road. The rules of DOT require that every designated crossing of a state road, of which we have all over the town, have a designated left turn lane. So there have to be 3 lanes. There has to be a lane for the oncoming traffic. There has to be a designated lane for the left turn traffic, and there has to be a designated lane for straight traffic and turning right traffic. DOT will not designate any intersection without that requirement, because that is simply their rule. In other words, if you call them and you give them a picture of an intersection, and they sent us extensive diagrams of successful examples of what a golf court would be. You also can never ride a golf cart adjacent to a state road. That's completely illegal. So the previous commissions looked at it all, and I said, well, I don't know how you can make a finding of safety without doing an impact study of some kind. Because you can just sit around the table, I suppose, and say, well, we think it's safe, so we're going to enact the ordinance. Well, I would not think that would be a legally sound approach to it. Normally you do an impact study before you make findings as required by statute. And then the other matter has to do with these illegal crossings. And again, someone mentioned the highway patrol. The county sheriff enforces the state laws, and if he elects not to enforce a specific state law, he's entitled to do that, but the highway patrol still going to be working it out. But the question is, how would the commission go about handling the DOT restrictions in the context of this kind of ordinance? And would it make sense to enact an ordinance which basically, I guess you could do one which essentially puts the city in different quadrants and designate the quadrants where they don't cross state roads, and then people stay within their own quadrant, and then have a finding that it would be safe and effective to do. And again, if a statute requires a finding, you really need, before you make the finding, you need to have some way of backing that up through a study or statistically or something. And I've never looked into the cost of doing such a thing. I have no idea what it would be, and I don't know who would do it, but I'm sure that I'm sure the larger cities all do this. They probably do it in-house. But anyway, having said that, those have been the obstacles that we found to the golf cart ordinance thus far. Is a matter of the DOT requirements and the findings that the board would have to make that it's safe to do so.
This is what I know from kicking it around. Golf carts can be operated on a roadway where the speed limit is more than 25 miles an hour. All of our residential streets are 25 miles an hour or less. The crossings on state roads can't be on portions of roadway where the speed limit, I can't remember if it's 35 or 40 miles an hour, but we have areas where, like you could cross down here on 4th Avenue, and I think on 5th Avenue, you could cross 121 and 100 if DOT gave the permit. When I contacted DOT, they wouldn't even talk to me unless we had an ordinance in place authorizing and where we authorized golf carts to operate on our city streets, because then they would examine whether or not there were any places at those authorized streets where there were any places where there could be crossing the state road that they would approve. Then they also put in to tell me that District 2, Lake City, will not approve golf cart crossings on state roads. Now, Live Oak has got golf carts authorized, by ordinance are allowed. but they have no state road crossings. I know that because I checked with their city managers, and they ran into the same obstacle. My contention, if we ever got to where we actually had a golf cart ordinance, then I would take up the battle with DOT, because then I would have a dog in the fight. Because Florida statute provides for the crossings, and it does, it specifies certain areas already where state roads can be crossed by golf carts, like down in, what do they call it, down southwest SoCal.
The village?
The villages. By statute, they're authorized to do it when the state road goes through one of their big mobile home parks. The rest of the state is at the mercy of the DOT district. There is a provision in the DOC administrative code where it talks about, like the attorney was talking about, the got to be a left turn lane and all that. But in the small print, there's a little thing where it says that there can be a deviation. I can't remember what section it is. I've got it copied there at the house, so it's at my fingertips, but it's not here. But to get anywhere close to what you want, the first thing we'd have to do, as Mr. Main has said, is we would have to have a city ordinance in place, and that would be entirely up to the commission. Now, we can't take any action on it tonight, one way or the other, because it's not on the agenda. But if anybody on the commission is inclined to, it can be put on the agenda, and we can kick it around some more.
Well, Irving ain't got what he was talking about, the turning lanes and the passing lanes and all this. Rayford don't have it. Branford, they cross 27 and the Lake City Highway, they cross them all the time.
Well, they do, just like they do here, but they're not permitted crossings.
Yes, they
I
are.
mean, it is true that you can enact any ordinance that says anything, but,
They got signs
but-
up telling where you can cross in
but what
places.
I'm saying is that there are statutes and then there are DOT rules concerning this issue. And of course, the commission can enact an ordinance and completely ignore the findings and completely ignore the crossing requirements. But that's certainly not what I would recommend, but it's certainly something you could do. I mean, if you want to,
We addressed this rather extensively when I was the city manager.
we did.
Yeah.
And everything you said there is totally correct, and it sounds very good. One issue that you've not, really discussed that really needs to be thought about, and it's something that we looked at very closely, and we in fact monitored it, and that was you have a timber company, now you've got a solar company that's on 100, you've got 75 on road, then you've got 231 and 121 that go to Gainesville. And if you look at the traffic of 18-wheelers and timber, particularly that corner on 238 and 231, they're always turning that corner with loaded up with trees and Walmart trucks, etc. And you're putting yourself in a liability situation where if somebody gets hurt, and it's not going to be the people that are law-abiding. It's not going to be the people that. He's totally correct. What he's saying is totally correct. But who's monitoring the kids right now that are doing the distance? The ones that he's complaining about that aren't adhering to the law, they're the ones that are going to be breaking the law.
Yeah.
And you may have it and say, well, we're going to go ahead and accommodate you, but we're willing to absorb this risk that we have no control over, and the city's going to get sued, and the city's going to lose their shirt.
Well,
I guess we should limit all pedestrians.
Yeah, we should, I guess.
Everybody should walk on them streets.
this is.
Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what you heard.
It sounds like.
This, the only place by statute that they would be authorized to operate is places where the speed limit is 25 miles an hour.
If they don't adhere to that now, why would they adhere to that later?
Which does not include 238, does not include 231, does not include 100, 121. But I understand there's some people that want to abide by the law and some that don't care. Well, you can't do nothing about the ones that don't care to abide by the law. But the ones that do want to abide by the law would also like to have the benefit of not being harassed by law enforcement who choose to, well, I'm gonna let those slide, but I'm gonna cherry pick this one for enforcement purposes, which is a complaint that I've heard. But as far as the traffic study, the first thing I'd be asking, if we were to pursue it, is I'd be asking our sheriff's office, because I bet the only one I know of, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, is somebody augured their side-by-side into the ditch up there by the women's club here several months ago.
That was a four-wheeler.
That was a four-wheeler?
He hit the side.
Well, I knew it wasn't a golf cart.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd deal with the sheriff's office, because I bet if there have been any traffic accidents involving golf carts, I bet he'd know about it. Which would give us a thermometer of what to expect. But I have to ask the city manager or the city attorney to see what all would be involved in doing the traffic study that would satisfy the commission.
Well, I've seen four-wheelers and golf carts right down 100. I mean, running down 100. And there's some local people that y'all know that's here that does it, and they ride their four-wheeler. When he was the city manager, there was one rode it from the S&S down to the Family Dollar, right down 100 on the golf cart.
We also had one that got a ticket by the highway patrol.
Yeah, but
And
when
he made his golf cart street legal.
Where was the highway patrol though when this one happened? He wasn't nowhere around.
And I don't have to go anywhere to see it, because I see it right by my house on 231, right down that street in front of
And
me.
then Surrey Valley got his street legal, but it's not street legal in Lake Butler.
What?
He's got it street legal, but it's not legal to ride it in Lake Butler. Am I correct?
No.
No, he drives it everywhere.
Drive, you can't drive your golf cart just anywhere you want to.
No, you can drive a motor vehicle if it meets certain
If
criteria.
it is tagged,
You've got to
be
be
driven
driven
anyway.
blinkers and horns and lights and.
Yeah, and that's who we're talking about, right? He's got horn, turn signals, brake lights, new
Yeah,
lights,
but isn't-
all that good stuff, and he's got a license plate. It is a registered motor vehicle.
It's not considered a golf cart.
But
it's also not legal on 121 or 100.
That's correct, because it can't go over a certain mile per hour,
Right.
so
Supposed to be
you
on the
can't
street
drive,
like
it's not
25
street
miles.
legal, so that's.
But anyway, that's,
wording.
he's legal, because he's not legal like they're talking about. He's not legal going out there in a 60-mile-an-hour speed.
no, he can't ride down 100 on there.
Correct.
Yeah.
No,
he cannot.
No,
No, he cannot.
No, he cannot.
Under 5 brake
No, he
horsepower.
cannot.
And, well, we're not gonna debate the law. We know what, if we want to pursue it, we know what we have to do.
Right.
And,
But I'm just saying, for some people, it's okay, some people, it ain't okay. That's what I'm trying to get.
Well, right now, because we don't have an ordinance or nothing like that, and the law choose not to stop them, there's nothing that we can do. It's just they committing they're taking a chance of getting stopped.
But I think he's requesting that we do one for in the city, for
Yeah,
the
and
small
what
streets and such, not.
Yeah, the
what's not-
residential streets.
Correct.
I ain't talking about riding it up and down 100 or.
Oh, yeah, we understand.
It's just
Well, I can tell you when make that ordinance change, it's gonna be interpreted as you can drive golf carts in the city of Lake Butler now. And no one's gonna read where they have to cross, no one's gonna read.
That's
What's
their
gonna happen
fault.
is you're gonna have.
They have a responsibility as a
He
driver. and
can
owner.
be street legal to the Lake Butler if you just make the changes to his golf cart. He can do it.
The
No, you don't have to
the
do that.
statute authorizes them, if we pass the ordinance, the statute only authorizes them on roadways where the speed limit is 25 miles an hour or less, which excludes, except for crossings, excludes every other
Major
main
highway.
drags in town.
Yes.
the gentleman that lives over there behind the S&S can do it because of the classification of his vehicle. It gives him a little more latitude on where he can operate. It's a tagged motor vehicle, low speed or something, vehicle, and he can do that. But we will, the commission can, the commissioners, any one of them can make a decision to ask that it be put on the agenda, and we can hammer it out and pursue it if anybody wishes. I appreciate you coming up and talking about it. Thank you.
I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
wanted to make it, you're talking about modular homes. I do know there used to be a ruling in the city of Lake Butler that if you removed a mobile home, you had so many months that you could put one back.
6 months.
6 months.
Is that still in effect?
Yes.
Unless the place is zoned for trailers, because we do have, for mobile homes, there's several areas of town that are zoned for mobile homes, and one can be put in 10 years later.
That's correct.
Okay. I didn't know.
And there's a vested permits, right, certificate for one of the mobile home parks.
Yeah.
Because I know some people that have a mobile home that looks awful, and they leave it sitting there because they don't want to remove it till they can put another one back. They know they only have so many
You
days.
talking about the one next to Vernon?
No, this one's around on the other side of town.
If it eventually gets to deteriorates to the point where it's no longer habitable, then it could be, if the building inspector was inclined, he could inspect it and condemn it, and then they'd either have to fix it or get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a story on that mobile home that's over there next to Vernon Dukes on the left. And I remember reading the Union County Times when they passed. Toots Roberts lived in the house across the street, and they needed to provide medical or something or assistance for the relative. And they appeared before the council, and the council gave them the exception to put the trailer across the street for the mother-in-law or whatever it was to live, so that they could take care of her, with the understanding that if she died, that it had to be removed. All right, it was in the newspaper, and when I read it in the newspaper, and that was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I read it and I said, I ought to keep this newspaper article, and I didn't.
You should.
Okay, but I was running all over the state. But anyway, when, Vernon came and talked to our office, and I told Vernon, I said, Vernon, I remember that discussion, but we could not find the newspaper article, and that trailer is there illegally.
Yeah,
The
well,
kitchen's put it there.
if that was
That's
true,
correct.
wouldn't that be buried somewhere in the archives?
Yeah, it would be somewhere in the archives, but we couldn't find it. And Vernon, I can tell you, he's a bulldog. He came in there and he hunted, and we hunted, and we went to the Union County Times, and I remember it was on the front page. I remember reading the article.
I'm talking about in our city
Yeah.
meeting records.
There should be.
If we have a window of time, I could look at that, because I know some people that want it gone.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I just, go ahead, go there.
Yeah.
Melissa Hendricks, 340 Northwest 3rd Street. I just wanted to give you an update that the speed bumps are going well. It is slowing down traffic. There's a few little here and there, but that's their deal if they want to tear it up. But it has helped with the people walking. We actually had a family come up to our house yesterday, child selling stuff, and they asked about the speed bump, so I haven't heard anything negative. So I did want to give y'all that update, that it seems to be slowing it down.
Good.
Just let y'all know.
Thank you.
Ms. North, where's that trailer at you're talking about?
I'd rather not disclose,
Okay.
but they do keep it there just for that reason, because they don't know when they're gonna put the other one back, and it's an eyesore.
Well, it shouldn't be that hard to find. Okay. Consent agenda. Need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda included and act upon with one motion.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Okay, the financial report for the period ending October 31st, 2020. Ms. Owen.
So what you have in front of you are the financial reporting for October 1st through October 31st, 2020. The first month of the 2021 fiscal year. We've worked diligently to try to balance our funds, our major fund, or well, all of our funds, general fund, the enterprise funds. We had a problem with garbage in and garbage out with our, when we recently merged our financial system, our old one QuickBooks, into AccuFund, which, so the general fund still has a little ways to go. It's not quite balanced, but we're off to a great start. We did receive our CARES funding. On the first page, you'll see where the grants receivable is now 0 because we received that money from the county.
Mhm.
And we do have and then we'll go into liabilities. That's pretty straightforward. There are a few things here that need to be cleaned up. We have some misallocations, but we're still...
What's the FEMA grant?
Okay, so the FEMA grant was, I'm not sure if you remember, Hurricane Irma came through. That was a project that we applied for reimbursement, but DOT fixed it. In the meantime, we canceled the project, but we received the funds.
Okay.
So we'll have to hold on to those. At some point in the future, they will come back and they will want those back. But they move slowly. So in the meantime, we know that we owe them. Let's see, tax revenues are starting to come in. There's not a whole lot to say with the revenues and expenses. It is easy to pinpoint with only a month coming in if there are any coding issues, which we've been able to spot, and it's just given us the opportunity to clean up the financial statements so that we can keep a closer eye on them. And the auditors are scheduled to come in the end of this month. Per the contract, they are required to have us a financial report by February so that we can submit it to GFOA for submit our comprehensive annual financial report. And hopefully it will be reviewed. So we're excited about that. Last year, well, if you'll notice, this will be the 3rd year that we've submitted a CAFR. But hopefully with the auditors completing the report by February, that will give us time to get it into GFOA for review. I'm not anticipating the prestigious budget award, but award like we did for the budget, but it'll be the first time with submittal, and we're excited. Do you have any questions?
Moving on, agenda item number 3.
Can you approve the financial reporting?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reporting for the period ending October 31st, 2020.
Second. Anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now I can do number 3.
Yes.
Is contract between the City of Lake Butler and North Central Florida Regional Planning Council. Would you like to-
Mr. Mayor, this is the same thing we talked about at the community redevelopment hearing just a few minutes ago. So doesn't need much explanation unless the commission has.
This was budgeted for, budget for
Budget for 15,000.
yes. Okay. Need a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the contract between the city and North Central Florida Regional Planning Council in that amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, item number Butler and Florida Department of Corrections.
Mr. Mayor, this is a contract with the Department of Corrections, since we haven't had any inmates for several months because of the COVID. Likelihood of getting any soon was not optimal, but we're going to probably get a squad probably Friday. But the inmates come and go because of COVID, and if there's a resurgence. The positive side of the contract with the DOC is that they're the first to come out, where the county and some of the others who get them for free are not going to be the first to come out. So this was a solution to solve not having about 25 inmates. This will give us about 8. It is, the reason for the price is that we have a guard. We pay for a guard to watch it. We don't have to do that.
But with us paying for the correctional officer, though, that guarantees us a squad 40 hours a week.
Yes.
If for some reason they have a lockdown, would that,
If there's some reason the squad doesn't come out for any substantial, and I think that just is a few days, really, a period of time, I think the contract does call for an adjustment of the cost.
okay, yes, okay.
And I don't recall the exact provision, but it did provide for an adjustment in the event of such a thing.
And one thing that's happening right now, it's my understanding that the county now has maybe a couple of squads that they have let out to be supervised by county employees. And that's only been in the last day or two. But if they have a problem with COVID, they disappear right now. But the squads that they have that are supervised by officers, they keep right on clicking. And the advantage the county has is back in 1958, 59, early 60, they got a contract with the state where they provided the state about 7,000 acres or so to build a prison on. And in return, they were kind enough to guarantee them inmate work scores. We don't have that advantage.
Okay.
This will cost us, I think with the equipment we have to provide that's in that contract, it's going to cost us about $64,000. That's for an officer, radio, telephone, but we get 8 employees. We can't hire 8 part-time employees for 52 weeks for that price.
What is the total cost on this?
$64,000.
We can't get CARES Act money on that? Does it
No.
qualify? No.
No, never.
That's why when you're driving up and down the highways and byways through all this COVID thing, you've seen the DOT work crews have steady been getting it. And that's why you get what you pay for. So, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to that effect.
We have a motion to approve the contract between the city and the Florida Department of Corrections.
You can't make
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Point of order, I thought the mayor couldn't make a motion.
He didn't.
He did.
He did.
He did.
Oh, okay. Beasley did.
Sir?
Beasley did.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Beasley did.
Could I ask a question about this contract?
Sure.
Who all has reviewed it? What members of the council?
I can't speak for everybody else. I have, I know the city manager has, and I'm certain the city attorney has.
I reviewed it for legal, yes.
You reviewed it from the legal side?
From the legal side, yes.
I read it from front to back. That's
Well, the reason I ask, I knew the guys that used to write these things, and I didn't really trust them. But I trust you guys have read it.
This actually, they cover a great number of issues which might arise operationally, and most of them are resolved, frankly, in my favor, in my opinion. I thought this was a very.
Well, as long as someone, you guys have read it, I haven't seen it, and that's my fault because I haven't been down here. But I've been, rest assured, I've been active in getting these guys back out. Because I look at that as my squad, and Jack knows why it's my squad.
I'll email you a copy of it.
That's okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, got a good copy right here.
It's on the website.
Okay, thank you very much.
So all opposed? Okay, motion passes. Number 5. I think this is kind of for informational purposes.
Yes.
It's, has to do with a public works purchase for a dump trailer.
We're looking for a dump trailer to try to be more efficient with the public works crew, since we didn't have any inmates, and so we discovered that trailers are hard to find because of the storm in the Tallahassee area and all those areas up there. So they were trying to find. We found one in Georgia, I believe it was, and so we purchased that. Cody went up and got it and brought it back, and it's been in use, and it's been a great addition to the equipment that we have. So we're just looking for purchase of that dump trailer for public works.
What we gonna pull it with?
Pull it with a pickup truck.
So they've been using
I
it.
was going to say,
14 foot.
I was going to say from personal experience, it's a 16-foot trailer, dump trailer. I pulled it with
Well,
my
my thought
little
was
OF-150
on the dirt.
and have loaded it down.
Did we buy it used or new?
New.
New? Well, how much was it?
$8,330, sir.
Thank you.
It's on the west side, I think.
And, but anyway, I've used the thing. It's, at least when I've used it, it saved a great deal of time because the backhoe, well, and Commissioner Stiegel also worked with me. The backhoe ain't got to run down to down to the old water treatment plant to drag the stuff off the trailer. You load it, you go, you dump it, you come back, in front of the loader sitting there waiting on you to put more on. When I load it by hand, it makes it so much more convenient. Dumping it, it's, I know, I love it. Okay, number 6. Final reading of ordinance number 2.
What was the final? Where,
Get a motion on 5?
yeah.
Did that need a motion?
Did you?
Informational purposes
I
only.
thought that was informational purposes.
Yeah, they've already bought it.
No, it's paid for.
Okay, well, okay, I see what you're talking about there.
So you need a motion?
Hold on.
Need a motion to approve the emergency purchase of a 14-foot trailer from Big Tex Trailers from capital outlay in public works.
After the fact.
I make a motion
After the
to,
fact.
Well, it says emergency purchase.
I make a motion to approve the emergency purchase of a 14-foot trailer from Big Tex Trailers from capital outlay in public works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item number 6 is final reading of ordinance number 2020-08, amending the city's comprehensive plan.
It should be by title only. Okay, yeah, because this is about the company down there, right?
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
one you said.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2020-08, amending the city comprehensive plan for residential, medium density to industrial. by title only.
Ordinance number 2020-08, an ordinance of the city of Lake Butler, Florida, relating to an amendment of 10 or less acres of land to the future land use plan map of the city of Lake Butler comprehensive plan pursuant to an application CPA 20-02 by the property owner of said acreage through the amendment procedures established in sections 163.3161 through 163.3248 Florida statutes as amended, providing for a change in land use classification from residential medium density, that's 10 or equal to 8 dwelling units per acre, to industrial, certain lands within the corporate limits of the city of Lake Butler, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next item is the final reading of ordinance number 2020-09, amending the city's official zoning atlas. This is also.
Yeah. This is also for Santa Fe overhead doors. Yeah, they're rezoned from residential to commercial.
Well, I make a motion to approve ordinance 2020-09, amending the city zoning and to be read by title only.
Ordinance number 2020-09, an ordinance of the city of Lake Butler, Florida, amending the official zoning atlas of the city of Lake Butler land development regulations relating to the rezoning of less than 10 contiguous acres of land pursuant to an application D-20-02 by the property owner of said acreage under the amendment procedures established in sections 163.3161 through 163.3248 Florida statutes as amended, providing for rezoning from residential single-family 1, RSF1, and residential single-family 2, RSF2, to industrial light and warehousing, ILW, of certain lands within the corporate limits of the city of Lake Butler, Florida, providing severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, and providing an effective date.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, item number 8 is a motion, first reading of ordinance number 2020-10, amending the text of the city's land development regulations. This has to do with affecting the residential design manufactured home and residential single-family zoning districts.
The CRA board acted in similar capacity that the planning and zoning board usually does, making a recommendation. So that the first you passed a resolution with a recommendation to the city commission, and then this is the ordinance that allows that text amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 2020-10, providing a text change to the city's land development regulations to be read by title only.
Ordinance number 2020-10, an ordinance of the city of Lake Butler, Florida, amending the city of Lake Butler land development regulations as amended pursuant to an application LDR 20-01 by the city commission relating to an amendment of the text of the land development regulations, providing for amending section 2 entitled definitions general by revising definition of single-family dwelling, providing for amending section 2.1 entitled definitions general by adding a definition for dwelling, modular home, providing for amending section 4.2.31 entitled provisions for residential design manufactured housing by changing the reference from the Florida Administrative Code to the Florida Building Code, and by requiring the underfloor area of a residential designated manufactured home to be permanently enclosed by either a masonry block stem well without stucco finish or a masonry block stem wall with stucco finish, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing effective dates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The next item is number 9, grant for mini excavator. I believe the city manager will explain.
This is a opportunity that we have with USDA to obtain a grant for a mini excavator that Public Works would like to have. And the grant is, total grant is like $50,000, and the city will come up with about $12,000.
But as of right now, that's just for information only until we get approval of the grant.
That's
right?
true.
Okay.
Comments, questions? Okay, item number 10, sidewalk construction.
We've tried for a couple of years to do construct sidewalk down by the football field, and different circumstances have allowed us now to try to get this done. We put a budget for it in street reserves, and we have a quote from Darrell Williams for $9,800 that we have to pay for the concrete and the other equipment to do it. So it should be less than $25,000, but you put that number on here just to keep us safe. So we're proposing a new sidewalk in that area.
Is that gonna take it all the way to the end?
From the side, from where it ends now, all the way down to the cemetery.
Okay.
They go from 9th to the cemetery.
Okay. I know Mr. Walker, about a year ago, I think, maybe it was longer. I thought the county had got the
The county was
approval.
gonna do it, yep, I talked about it in the memo that the county was gonna do it with leftover money from the grant.
And then
They haven't done it, so, and they said they're not going to do it, so we have to go ahead and do it.
And if I remember right, there was money budgeted up to 25,000, and this will come in about 16.
Okay.
Will that come out of the streets and roads, or will that come out of
That's
general?
exactly what I said.
That's what I said.
No. I'll make a motion to accept the quote from Darrell Williams for $9,800 for the sidewalk.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Townsend Green Building. Looks like we have a quote to replace the exterior doors down at the museum.
We have had some issues with the construction of the building itself, and the doors are beginning to have some issues where if you go in or out, they're about ready to fall off. And so this, for the security, we really need to look at improving the exterior doors and the installation. And Lowe's gave us a quote of about $9,000, and so that's what we're going to use at that point.
And once again, it was in the budget for 12, right?
And for those of you that haven't had the opportunity, I've gone down there a couple of times, and it's embarrassing when you open the door and the hinges ain't screwed to the wall no more, and it just kind of wants to come out and land in your lap. And they keep patching and patching it. There's nothing left there to patch.
Excuse me, can I ask a question about that Townsend building?
Sure.
The foundation issue, has that been resolved?
No, it's not been resolved, we're working on it.
I would suggest that be resolved before you replace any doors or windows.
Well,
But there again, that's,
these are vinyl, they probably won't rot, but
Well-
we've already had an engineer.
they may be in sideways if the building's, you know.
Yeah. We've had a,
Fix the building before you put new doors in it would be my recommendation.
well, the problem with the foundation, and the public works director there can correct me if I'm wrong, is an issue of no ventilation between the ground and the floor. It's causing rot. It's not the structure itself.
Yeah, but eventually it's going to sink, it's going to fall if the foundation's not.
It's got a crawl space.
You've got to secure the building.
Is there a crawl space?
you don't fix the foundation, then why bother to fix the door?
The door is a short-term solution, and the foundation is a long-term solution.
I didn't know there was a problem with the foundation. I knew there was a problem with
Yes, the ventilation.
the
The
ventilation.
ventilation.
Ventilation's
Is there a foundation problem?
No, it's pretty much what it's doing, it's causing moisture to stay underneath it, and the floors are 2x10s,
Two
I believe.
tens, supposedly.
And it's caused one or two of them to get a little moisture and rot. The foundation, the actual block foundation around it is seemed to be good, it's just holding that moisture underneath it.
We've had-
Put no ventilation.
But now that's caused by condensation off of your air conditioners, is this correct? Is this true?
That and rain and just everything. Foundation and
There was
rain.
no barrier between the.
If you look at the older houses, they have block ventilations that are built above the ground,
Mhm.
so the air can go through the house and it evaporates that water. But when they built the Townsend building, they didn't put the ventilation system in.
Right.
So everything's trapped in there, and it's like, kind of like dry rot, not dry rotting, it's wet hot water, it's rotting.
Well, when they did the remodel, you can see where the holes previously, the vents were previously along the side of the building. But at some point between when it was built and right now, those vent holes were blocked. Consequently, we have the problem. But we've had an engineer look at it. They've given Mr. Douglas some recommendations on how to resolve it. And I'm sure he's aggressively working toward getting that accomplished.
Okay.
Do we have?
Anyway, we need a motion.
Thank you.
You got a question?
Did we just get one quote for the doors?
Yes, that's all we got. Yeah.
I would like to do another one if possible.
We can get as many as you want.
At least another.
Yeah, we can get as many as you want. We had a hard time, it took Lowe's months to get us this quote because of the size of it. It was, he said it was extremely hard. Only one of his, I guess, manufacturers, only one of them could actually give them a price on it because they had to reframe everything. They're actually, the doors are metal doors. They're not wood or not vinyl. They're actually supposed to be metal with some kind of coating over it. It was extremely hard for them. I'm not saying we can't get more quotes. We can get, like Mark said, several more if we need to.
Got a Lowe's card, get a 5% discount.
I have some contact.
As a matter of fact, I can get a 10% discount.
That can get a
10%.
That's right.
So you want to table this for next month? What you saying?
Is this something that can be taken care of this week, this month?
It's up to you. I mean, the building's not gonna fall down, but the door's gonna fall in.
Yeah. Give me a couple of days to table it, we.
Get some more quotes.
Yeah, please.
Probably should have ran that then, shouldn't you?
Okay,
So
we'll,
we got that, Sarah.
We can pass you.
So is your motion
So
to,
we
I make a motion to table,
just table it till the next meeting, or table it till you get another quote.
table to next week,
okay,
and I have some quotes, so we can get more quotes by then.
I'll second.
all in favor? Opposed?
I get,
Okay. No, that's
yeah, these are, make those.
city attorney's report.
I don't have anything additional to add, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. City manager.
No, you've got my report in front of you, and you've also got a thank you letter from as far as
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stevens, you got anything you'd like to talk about?
I'll just toss out that it was a wise purchase for the drop trailer that we got because, like you had said, when we used it to go around and do the yard debris, it makes it real efficient. And that's all I got.
That's right, you operated.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Commissioner Beasley,
I don't have anything, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Simmons,
Thank Mr. Foley for you.
Could I ask one question before we adjourn?
sure.
I understand there was some discussion about the mobile home next door to me being removed.
It was just a comment was made.
I would like for the city to explore condemning that and tear the damn thing down. I have offered that woman more money than it's ever be worth. And she's a nursing home now, and God knows how long she might be there.
She can't sell it.
But you
Because
can
we
tear down the
purchased it.
structure.
We were gonna purchase it, but she's got 5 IRS liens on it. She can't sell it.
Can we tear it down?
Why can't she sell it?
If
She
it
has
can
IRS liens on it.
if it can be condemned, I can promise you that we got somebody that can do that. Commissioner Sermon, did you have anything?
You don't wanna call me, do you? You just don't wanna
No,
call me.
no, you're you and then my thing.
Okay.
There's a lot worse than this happening.
Okay, I think, Sarah,
There's a lot worse places.
I don't know that I ever get with you about that
But
council member about the grave cemetery, about that clock.
what money you offer?
Did we ever look
I'm
into that?
living in this
I
town.
told her,
I
just
get
pay
you.
my phone, pass bill.
Okay, I'll get with you on that, okay, about that, so we can find out.
Okay.
Okay. And also, the young lady that was here last month, did she ever submit a letter for the,
No.
for the bumper? Okay, all right. And then one other thing I have, last week, November the 14th, we had farm share, and it went very well. And we had over 220 families. We even had to turn about 20 or 30 cars away, because we just ran out.
That's great. I mean, it's not.
Did they give a date for December?
What-
Is
I
it going
guess
to be
it's
the
gonna be
second
the
Saturday?
12th. Yeah.
Okay, I'll get with Lisa.
Christmas
No,
tree.
that's a parade and all that, yeah.
I have absolutely nothing to offer. And I make a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All
Hold
in
on.
favor?
Can,
What's wrong?
Hey, Dave. Great. Good work for you getting to that truck.
okay, I'm sorry.
Did you get it?
No, yeah,
Sermon, ready.
sermons and Redmond, thank you.